Have you had a dream that messed up your day because you thought it was real and you woke up feeling horrible? I have had, on several occasions, dreams of myself painfully waking up, followed by my normal morning routine, all in a bleary-eyed state, brushing my teeth, eating some crummy cereal, the shocking cold air after a shower, all of this only to wake up and have to do it all over again. I've also dreamt that I've fallen to my death. Usually, like most people I think, I'll wake up right before impact, but I have experienced a post-death feeling, where I am conscious that I am dead. I remember thinking, hey, this is alright, I am dead, but I'm okay. Woke up with an eerie feeling that lingered for the rest of the day. I have had this happen twice in one night. Waking up for the third time was not pleasant. I had a dream not too long ago that my best friend wanted to die, but for some reason he wanted it to be from getting strangled by me. He convinced me to do it, and I'm so worried about making him suffer that I crushed his throat. Then him sitting there next to his dead body out of breath and crying. When I woke up it took me a solid 3 seconds to realize it was just a dream. Needless to say, I was in a pretty morbid mood for the rest of the day. Usually get waking from a good dream I thought was real and relieved waking from the bad ones. Then again, I wish I could just stay dreaming forever regardless. I was 12 years old. I was at Hogwarts. I could do magic. I was sorted into a house. I was literally bursting with happiness. Then my mother woke me up to go to a school that I really hated. For a couple seconds, I thought this was a dream. Mothers can't go to Hogwarts to wake you up. Then I was like no, the biggest disappointment I've ever felt. I just had a dream last night that I was a POW during World War II. We were all locked in a room with a Christmas tree when the enemy soldiers came in and put us on our knees to be executed. I was first up. I felt the gun press against my head and then heard the hammer released as I woke up. Best part was that I took it like a man and didn't cry or beg for mercy, but I really thought I was dying and accepted it for what it was. I distinctly remember thinking, everyone dies but this moment is mine alone. I was happy that I got to know how I was going to die. Woke up and now I just feel strange and remarkably not afraid of anything. Everyone dies but this moment is mine alone. Holy crap. I will never forget that statement. It is because of a dream that I realized the sad truth of my mortality. In my dream I was driving my truck, and I was completely aware of myself and my surroundings. Normally I can differentiate a dream from reality, but in this case everything was real. The smells, the sights, even the feeling of the sun on my skin. It all was real. Without warning I saw two men ride up beside me on a four-wheeler and watched in horror as one of them pulled a submachine gun from beneath his jacket and riddled the car in front of me with round after round. The noise of the gun was deafening and the shrieks of the man and woman as their blood ran down the windows was sickening. Terrified, I tried to reverse my truck and flee, but in my efforts to escape I inadvertently cut off the retreat of the gunners, and so turned their attention on me. The driver slowly and deliberately got off his seat and walked towards my passenger side window as his hand disappeared behind his back. Suddenly, I found myself in the passenger seat and bound by the seatbelt. I could only watch as the man pulled a handgun from behind his back and aimed it at my chest through the glass of the window, his face obscured by a glare on the glass. He pulled the trigger and I was showered in broken glass as my ears rang with the echo of the shot. I did not feel the pain at first, not until I looked down to see my hand desperately trying to stem the flow of blood, but my efforts were futile. I could not scream as my lungs filled with blood. All I could do was sob bitterly as I died, afraid and alone, with the cruel barrel of a gun staring me in the eyes. I awoke from that nightmare drenched in a cold sweat and an intense pain in my chest. I thought I was in the hospital and could not figure out why I was not dead. It took many long moments before I realized I was safely in my dorm room and that it had all been a terrible dream. Still, I will never forget it. It may be hard to understand, but as far as I am concerned I died and was given a second life. But that, my friends, is the story of the dream that messed up my day. I dreamed that a beautiful woman was having dinner at my house with my family, about 5 years in the future. I'm 20 now. She made my siblings and parents laugh. She laughed at their jokes, and it was all generally a great time. It was very vivid. I remember the jewelry she wore. The long strapless red dress she had on. The way her brown hair was done up in a bun. It was a very short dream. Only about 30 seconds long if I had to guess. But a lot of emotion was packed into it. As I pulled out my chair to sit down next to her, she looked at me, and I knew that she was the most gorgeous woman I had ever seen, and I knew beyond a doubt that I loved her. I woke up and felt weird. I'm naturally not a very social person. I've hardly talked to anyone in my classes this semester, and remembering that dream caused me to rethink my life for a while. Ultimately nothing has changed, yet. Still makes me a bit sad when I think about it, wondering what I might be missing. But then I go back to what I'm doing, and it all slips away into the back of my mind again. Ultimately nothing has changed, yet. Still makes me a bit sad when I think about it, wondering what I might be missing. So get the frick off Reddit already, and go make it happen. Me and my GF, who I am still very much in love with, broke up recently. I have dreams about her almost every night and wake up to realize she is gone and I will likely never see her again. Crushes me every morning. Makes me feel like I am breaking up with her all over again due to the fact that during the dream we are together and happy. Haven't slept very well the past few weeks. I am having a very similar problem, man. Keep your chin up and I hope you feel better soon. When I was 9 I had a dream that I had 2 children, a boy and a girl who were maybe about 4 or 5. I wasn't an adult but didn't feel like a child either. It felt right. In my dream I was awake in my bed and they were snuggling with me. Then they got up and ran out of the room and this is where I woke up, except there was no sudden change since in my dream I was also in my room. I ran around the house and the neighborhood for an hour looking for my children and crying that they were missing. It was a painful feeling. Feels bad, man. I'm a dude. I have PTSD, and the nightmares are really realistic. When I wake up I know they are not real, but I still feel horrible. In the last one I had my friend murdered someone. The murdered person requested it, but we had to be careful and essentially not get arrested for it. The next day I felt haunted and had to constantly remind myself that he didn't actually murder anyone. Ended up having to make sure with the friend that we didn't. He thought I was pretty nuts. The police later found the body buried in his backyard. I'll have these long dreams that seem pretty vivid. It'll feel like weeks go by at certain times. When I wake up, I feel extremely disoriented. Important life events, people I meet, people I grow attached to turn out to all be figments of my imagination. I actually have that happen to me a lot. I build a life, somewhat, in this dream world, and when I wake up it takes me a while to figure out where and when I am. It's really bad because many of these dreams, near the end, take a turn for the nightmare, so when I wake up I have to deal, first, with the emotions of losing friends and family, and second, with the fact that it was all a dream. I once dreamt I could do a proper wheelie on my bike. I then tried to do this, convinced by my dream I could. A week later, I could not do a wheelie. I had a similar dream, only it wasn't a wheelie, it was an impression of Ringo Starr. I have wanted to travel around Europe for about 10 years, and haven't been able to yet. I often dream that I am on the plane and then in Europe, and every time I think to myself, is this a dream, this must be a dream, and then somehow get reassured that it's not a dream. I am actually in Europe and it's real this time. And then I wake up with a broken heart again. This is me, except with space travel. I've probably had 20-30 dreams in my lifetime where I'm convinced I'm finally in space. Usually each time the dream more realistic than the last to convince me that it's real, only to wake up the other way round. I often have amazing dreams, wake up and realize my life is horrible in comparison. However, this has helped my life. I once had a dream. My life was exactly the same, but I rode a motorbike. I woke up in the morning, realized how much my life would improve with a motorbike, so I went out and did the test. I don't look back. I remember this from when I was a wee lad. I was about 4, maybe 5, and I had woken up from a dream where I was playing a red Game Boy Color on my bed. I had wanted one so badly at the time, but I was never just given one. So yeah, I was playing Pokemon Yellow on the Game Boy, I believe, and I was suddenly woken up. My first instinct was to search around my bed for a red Gambuddy. I looked and looked, but I found nothing. It made me legitimately sad. I once dreamt an entire month of blissfully having a girl I had a crush on as my girlfriend. I can still remember the crushing disappointment when my bare feet hit the tiles at the bottom of the stairs 30 years later. The tragedy of sexual intercourse is a perpetual virginity of the soul. Some more Yates for you. I had a dream I saw 9/11 happen from a few hundred yards away last night. Turned into an apocalyptic movie and had to live in a tent for a few weeks. Third apocalyptic dream in a week. I dreamt that I had one of my guy friends over at my house, and I was being all nice and stuff. I said, "Hey, come look at what I have in this closet," and when he came over, I stabbed him to death. This was all depicted quite graphically, and I can still remember his face as I killed him. I then took his body, chopped it up, boiled it in a giant pot, and ate him. I woke up feeling the worst sense of guilt I have ever experienced. Welp, that's enough internet for me today. First one was back when I was competing nationally for piano and wanted to be a concert pianist. I dreamt that I was in an accident and woke up in the hospital with both arms amputated. Then woke up for real, screaming. Second one, I was on a spaceship with a lot of people working. The section of the ship I was in became contaminated with something, and the AI controlling the ship, who I later realized had Gladys' voice, told the four of us in that section that she had to eject us from the ship to prevent further contamination. We walked towards the edge of the ship, by her instruction, and sat down looking up into a transparent wall that would part to become the opening from which we would be ejected. I freaked out and asked her why she would kill us this way. She said, "Oh, because this way feels amazing." I woke up and cried for half an hour, which resulted in a large wet spot on my boyfriend's pillow. So glad I was with him that night. Had a very realistic dream that my wife was cheating on me. Woke up Peter and stayed that way for 2 days lol. Mad over nothing. It's funny because according to Reddit, only women get mad at people over dreams. The worst for me was during a really painful breakup. I dreamt that it was all a dream. We were snuggling on the couch at his parents' house while his mum was cooking dinner. I actually said to him, "Oh wow, that's so weird. I dreamt you dumped me," and he to reply, "What? LOL never. Come here." And then I woke up. I was a crying mess for a whole week after that. I couldn't believe I trolled myself so hard. More recently I've been dreaming of my nana who passed away in October. It always hurts to wake up and remember she's no longer here equals. I dreamt that I found a duffel bag stuffed with cash. All hundreds and fifties, I'm talking thousands upon thousands of dollars. It was late at night so I ran straight home and stashed it under my bed and went to sleep. I woke up as happy and excited as I'd ever been in my whole life. I stick my hand under the bed to grab my loot and it wasn't there. I got down on my hands and knees and started scrambling. I tore everything out from under my bed until I realized that it was just a dream. The money dreams are the worst. I had a dream once that a family friend gave me a couple $1,000, and I was extremely pee when I woke up still broke. Well, not horrible but kind of weird. I had a dream that I was on a roof fixing the gutter. After I finished I made myself a sandwich in the kitchen instead of putting away the ladder. As I'm eating lunch I'm feeling guilty about not immediately putting the ladder away. I'm thinking to my dream self, gotta put that ladder in the garage as soon as lunch is done. And then I wake up. For about an hour after waking up I was genuinely bothered that the mind ladder would now forever be stored in the wrong portion of my brain. I've had dreams that made me feel bad for a few hours but it tends to peter out by lunchtime. I have very vivid dreams so if anything bad happens it's usually unpleasant to remember the next day. I hope you punched Peter in the mouth. Once had a dream that I was in a bookstore and came across the girl I cared for and we talked and laughed and everything felt so good, so perfect. Woke up and I knew it was just a dream. She doesn't have those feelings for me. I have a recurring dream where I have infinite wishes and when I wake up I realize I'm still mortal, overweight, no porns to frick buddy, average amount of fortune etc. Hit the gym, do something great for society. With those first two down, the third should sort itself out. I've had numerous dreams where it feels very real and awesome stuff is happening, but get really depressed when I wake up to find it isn't. Once I had a dream where I could swim through the air. Waking up was a real bummer. I've had several that really messed me up. The first one that stands out would be one where I met a girl and lived out an entire life together. The details ranged from grocery shopping, watching movies, having meals, and just getting older together. It felt very real and drawn out. There wasn't ever a face, just that it was someone I have never met before. The last event was us in a living room in front of a TV. I then woke up in my dorm room feeling completely empty, almost like having an entire life taken away from me in an instant and thrown into the middle of another. The second dream that comes to mind is me in the crowds watching a lacrosse game. I've never watched one before, so it was a little random. One of the players get impaled near the ribs with a lacrosse stick and the medics are called out to assist. I could tell he is in pain. For whatever twisted dream reason, the medics begin to drag him off the field by his feet. As they are doing this, his wound begins to tear and the player screams. He continues to scream until the wound rips to the point where the skin and flesh is essentially degloved from his skeleton. As I'm watching, I see his face and exposed brain. Electrical arcs fade from his brain as his screams die out. That's when I woke up feeling super depressed and helpless, watching a complete stranger die an agonizing death in front of me. The third dream is less deep. There is this very young girl, maybe 12 years of age, in a kitchen trying to fillet a live carp. It's one of those orange gold ones and seems to be half dead, as in still breathing, but not really putting up a fight. The scene skips ahead to where she throws it into a wok and turns her back to me. None of this is really strange to me since I grew up eating freshly killed fish. The strange part is when she turns around and puts the plate on the table. On this plate is a huge pile of fish eyes, but not just the eyes, the sockets around them as well. There were dozens of fish eyes still in their sockets, all cube shaped as if they were diced with a chef's knife, all raw and slimy. That was the trigger that left me awake in the middle of the night feeling grossed out and started to writhe around trying to shake off the crawly feeling all over me. Most of the dreams I can remember tend to screw my day up since they are usually so vivid. Some of the more mundane dreams have left me confused to the point where I'd mix up real memories with dreams. Those really screw your day up. I dreamt my boyfriend was in some kind of accident and I was visiting him in the hospital. He was mostly okay, but still IV'd up. I actually woke up crying. UNH. I gave him a call afterwards and he made me feel better. I dreamed that my mom had died. That's basically it for the dream. Now admittedly, I've always been closer to my dad out of the two of them, and especially since several of my friends have lost their fathers, I've become really paranoid of him passing away. But suddenly I woke up and there was blood all over my face from nosebleed. I'm crying and depressed for the rest of the day, partially out of worry, partially out of shame. Called my parents to see if they were okay. Mum's superstitious, so she'd take it as an ill omen. So I didn't tell them about the dream. Just the nighttime nosebleed. Used to happen as a kid. Haven't had one in years. I've been a paraplegic for the past 14 months. Almost no feeling or movement below my waist and I use a wheelchair 24/7. I'd say at least once a month I have a dream that I'm up and walking. The whole time I'm saying to myself, this is great. It's not even a dream. I'm really alright. Usually my girlfriend or some friends are around and they're astounded and so happy that I'm up on my stems again. And then I wake up and my legs don't work. Waking up after those dreams is heartbreaking. My ex broke up with me and a week later I dreamed I was fricking her sister. I was racked with all sorts of mixed emotions for a day or two. Then I thought frick it and fapped all night. Had a dream I had sex with my ex-girlfriend's cousin, who lived with us. It took me a couple days to realize the dream wasn't real. It was incredibly vivid and everything sort of lined up right. She always seemed a bit flirty and my ex-girlfriend, although girlfriend at the time, was away. Yeah, awkward. I dreamed that I was being chased by possessed children who were trying to murder me. I was also a wizard, but I didn't want to use any of my powers to blow up the innocent kiddies. I ran from the tiny demonic possessions, but they just followed me around hurting themselves and others to try and get to me. I didn't calm down for a long while after I had woken up and turned on all the lights in my apartment. The difference between me and you is that I would use my wizard powers and blow up the innocent kids. Back in high school my dad would wake me up at like 5:30 am, SMH, and it'd be so sleepy that instantaneously as he left the room it'd fall asleep again. That's when the dreams would start. In my dream I would get out of bed, brush my teeth, shower, do my hair, eat breakfast, pack my school books, and this was like a solid lucid dream. So when this cold rush came over me, either from my dad pouring a glass of water on me or ripping the blankets from my clasp, I was freaking devastated. I realized everything was a dream and it'd be like fuck I gotta shower again. This happens to me on a regular basis. Sometimes I fake shower and eat breakfast twice before I actually wake up. It gets quite tedious. I had a dream wherein I was Arya Stark and Storm of Sword. Spoiler, I had just found out that Kat and Robb were killed in the Red Wedding, and my classmate was Joffrey. Spoiler, now that was unnerving. Hodda 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 hodda. That's happened to me a couple months ago. I had a dream in which I was crying and nothing else. In my dream I remember feeling this horrible sense of loss, like I had lost a child or something. The next morning I woke up with tears and the awful feeling. I had a crappy couple days. All better now though, phew. Happens all the time. One time I had met up with an ex-boyfriend and said hi and left. For some reason I kept it from my husband and he found out and accused me of cheating. He wanted a divorce and he and his family hated me. I didn't even cheat. Another time, I asked my husband for a divorce and then decided I didn't want one. And last night I dreamed I was going to join the Air Force even though I knew Bill O'Reilly was going to be my boss. Terrifying. All he did was tell me I was fat and stupid and couldn't accomplish anything, physically or otherwise. When I was in high school I had a very vivid dream about one of my friends getting killed, and then his twin brother going to get revenge and also getting killed. My jaw almost hit the floor the next day as they were walking up to the school. I swear I thought I was looking at a couple of ghosts. Had a dream a couple months ago that a good friend of mine, who I had no feelings for at the time, showed up at my house and told me she was in love with me. My mind hasn't been quite right since. I had a dream where I was leading a bunch of people and got them all killed. I felt so guilty that I woke up crying. I have no idea where I was leading these people to or who they were, but they were mine to get there safely and I failed and I felt like crap for hours after. Back when I hadn't had sex with men before, I used to have these horrifying dreams about being molested or raped by men who I met on the street or on dating websites. Occasionally, the men in my dreams would be men who I knew in real life. This obviously made it difficult to interact with these men that day. Had a dream where I was in love, never felt this before, found the one and were planning our future and kids et al. Had a fantastic life with her and her tribe of wandering horsemen. Woke up and none of it was real. Felt completely smashed for 1-2 days. Had a nightmare that one of my girlfriend's friends came over to our house and brought some random black guy. And while we are all sitting there the black guy starts undressing and then sticks it in the friend's mouth. Well, she is going all P-star on this guy's junk and then my girlfriend walks over and starts rubbing on the guy. Then takes it and starts going to town on his junk like a P-star. After I woke up I felt weird all day, like something unimaginably horrible had happened. Back in high school was crushing hard on this girl, but was a shameless coward with the ladies. But then one day I told her how I felt, and just like Emerald, bam, I was in the zone. Had an amazing weekend, did amazing activities, ate amazing food, had amazing sex, best weekend of my life. I woke up so happy, but after 5 minutes the dream began to fade and I realized that none of it had really happened. That was a pretty quick crash. TL. Doctor had day kicked squarely in gonads by awesome sexy dream time. When I was on probation and had to stay clean of drugs of all sort, my most frequent dream was a using dream. I would get high in my dreams and it felt so real. However, upon waking I would always be in a sweat and worried about failing my next drug test. But then I'd go back through my memory until I was assured I didn't actually relapse. That shit's scary. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.